and welcome to JG3 Reviews. My name is James and I review pens, fountain pens, pencils, all that good stuff, especially though fountain pens. And this is one I have been waiting for a while. I ordered it back in June and packages are taking a long time to get here from China. My seeds still haven't, no, I didn't order any seeds. That's not even legal. Anyway, I order pens. I think my pens are being held up at the post office because they might think their seeds. But I finally got this one after weeks and weeks and weeks, and I want to share it with you. This is kind of a retro design in a way, very similar to the Schaefer Balance back in 1929. We'll talk a little bit more as we get a little closer shot of it in the design review. But really a neat pen and a resin that you're going to have to look at in the close-up. It's going to be hard for the camera, I think, to pick this up really. But a really cool resin that's called Cedar. And it's one that I've actually seen in a review or two, but nobody really, even in their own reviews, really said much about it. And so I finally thought, you know what? I really wanted it anyway. I really love things, you know, wood trim, wood desk, wood lamp, kind of like wood. And this isn't wood, but it's resin, but it looks like wood. And I thought, I'm curious, how cool will it look or not cool will it look? So I ordered one, and now I'm going to share that with you. Why don't we just go ahead and flip that camera and look a little bit closer at this Penbbs 480. All right, let's take a look at the Penbbs 480. This is the box that most of your Penbbs pens, they're going to come in. It's a nice black and red box with a magnetic closure. Some of you like boxes, so I have to tell you about that, right? And well packaged. It wasn't a plastic sleeve. Obviously, I put this back in there because we've already seen the pen. And then it also has, you can remove this foam, and it has just a typical foam bed down in there. But no cat sticker today. Usually, I'm not really much about cat stickers, but theirs are kind of funny. I didn't get one this time. Now this resin, as I said, it's called their Cedar resin, and this comes with a fine point nib. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. And I think it's going to be hard for the camera to really do it justice. And maybe that's why you don't see this in reviews so much. But as you can see, this is resin, and it's done in layers, probably easier to see from this angle, of light and dark to mimic wood grain. It's very well done. It's a high quality resin. The work on this and the polishing and everything is excellent. Of course, that's what I've come to expect from Penbbs. That's been my experience. This is my second pen. My wife also has one, a 308 in their purple cloud resin. All of them excellent, excellent pens. You will notice there is, the white is fairly opaque. However, this lighter color, which has a kind of a gold glistening, it's not really, it's not glitter, something sparkly, and I just don't have the vocabulary for it, I'm sorry. It's just not, I don't know. But when you look at it up close, let's see if I can get this in the light and the focus to cooperate. I've had a little trouble this afternoon getting my camera to focus. Hopefully you can see that there is both depth and, lack of a better word, I'm going to say sparkle. Feels like we're talking about unicorns. It's so odd. Anyway, in there, you can see it, right? You can see that hopefully in the camera. So I had already had the pen a couple of days before I really even saw how much of that there is, because I just kept looking at it kind of as a whole where it looks like wood grain, which is what I got it for. And I like it. It's a neat resin. Now, I will say, Penbbs, this is my favorite of theirs. This is the 308 with the Galaxy resin, and I just can't say enough good. I'll put a link up to my review of this pen, and you can just hear me go on and on about it if you're really bored. But I get this pen out and stare at. That's such a great looking resin. But I do like this one. Of course, it's more subtle. I got it because it looks like wood, as I've said. It's really well done. And I really actually think that it's better than it looks in pictures. It just isn't one that you hear much about, even among Penbbs fans, or at least I haven't before. Even when I was looking for it before I bought it, I was just curious, you know, what it looks like in person. I really couldn't get much information about it. But in person, it really is quite nice, and I think it's pretty neat. Now the shape of the pen, let's talk about this, the design. It's very much reminiscent of the Schaefer Balance, and I mentioned that in the intro. The Schaefer Balance is a pen from 1929, I believe it is. It kind of looks like a pen that, and especially in this resin, in this shape, and that 1929 kind of Art Deco style. It looks like a pen somebody would have who drives around in a Chrysler Airflow. I'm going to put up a picture. You'll see the car, you'll see this pen, and you'll think, yeah, I think that does kind of go together. I get what you're talking about. So it has that retro feel to it, because this is certainly not a pen shape that you see in a lot of modern era pens. So it's kind of a throwback, and I like that. This chrome ring is done nicely. It has the Penbbs name on one side and 480, the model number, off to that side, and Shanghai on this side. So, but it's really nicely done, nicely fitted. Clearly they take pride in their work. I think they do a really good job. It has this sword style clip, which is quite strong. Not a problem there. It's going to function just fine. And very pointy ends, because that's where it looks like the Schaefer Balance, except for the missing white dot at the top, right? But very nicely done pen. Take the cap off, and let's see how many that is. Let's see, that would be 1 and 2. Wait a minute. Let's see how many this is. 1, 2, 3. Just right at 3 turns to get that off. The threads are done nicely. There's another chrome ring between the section and the barrel. You have a plastic feed and a really nice Penbbs fine nib. You can see the scroll work that's done there. It's a little messy. I guess I could have cleaned that up. But really nicely done. And I will say that I really like this Penbbs fine nib. My other is around medium. This is a fine. And fine for me is always a bit more of a gamble than when you order a medium. I like both, and I find myself now kind of leaning more toward fine nibs so long as they're smooth. And that's the gamble. Some fine nibs are smooth and some are not. More medium nibs are smooth than not. And so it's just a little bit more iffy. But this one, fantastic. And the pen is really comfortable in the hand. That section, you can see the shape of it, has that kind of hourglass shape to it, and then a lip at the end to keep it from slipping. Really, really comfortable pen to write with. That number 6 nib, of course. I find that I like pens with that larger nib because I don't have to ride the section as high because there's more space already taken up by the nib lengthwise, and so I just find that very comfortable. And so I used this pen a lot after it came in, just to get a feel for it. And I was thinking, I wish I'd had it a week earlier when I was taking a lot more notes, because just very comfortable, well balanced, nice pen. It comes, of course, with a good Penbbs. Whoops, I got ink on myself. That's what you get for putting the feed on your finger. But a real nice converter, and that is proprietary. But I like it. They all seem to function well, those that we have, no problems whatsoever. So that's always a nice thing. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to clean up myself, and then we'll see how this pen writes. All right, now let's see how this Penbbs 480 writes. As you can see from the ink sample there, this is a turquoise ink. This is from Birmingham Pens, and it is their fountain turquoise. Really, really nice. I thought it suited the pen nicely. And let's take a gander. A gander. I'm holding a pen designed like something from the 20s, and all of a sudden I'm using words like gander. What on earth? Okay. So this is, now that's totally lost me. What is this? This is a Penbbs. You will notice I'm using rhodia paper today. I couldn't even say it. What on earth? 480. This is a fine nib, and it's maybe just a fine to a little bit compared to a lot of pens that might be similar to medium. I tell you what I would compare it to, what this reminds me of in terms of its thickness would be like a Lamy fine. I have the Lamy Safari in fine, and I think the thickness is really similar, so more like a European fine. Let's see here, and I'm just going to abbreviate. This is the Birmingham Pen Company turquoise. Fountain turquoise, actually. I forgot to write that part, but that's okay. And I'm going to be quiet. Let's check wetness. You know that's not as wet as I thought. I will say this ink, you will notice that there's some good rich color to that little drop that was on my finger for a second. It does, when I filled this pen up with ink, and you can kind of see a little bit right there. And I don't know if it's just the ink or the resin. I think it's a combination of the two. The ink, I think, is a little bit of a staining ink. I don't know that long term, so don't take that too far. But definitely I had to get it off of this section after I had dipped the pen in the bottle. I did have to use some of my pen flush to clean that up, and then it was real easy. It came right off. But just kind of be aware, if you're going to use that, you might want to think about what pen you put that in. But I love it. I love the color of this ink. Let's see. We'll do our regular. Can James still write alphabetically? And if I get, every now and then, I get ahead of myself, or I start writing my last name on accident, just let my wife know so that she can check what I've got going on there. Here are the things that I notice about this nib as I've written with it. One is it is a very smooth nib. I really like that. Not all fines are, but this one definitely is. I found it to be smooth. I find that it keeps up really, really well. No issues there. It keeps a really great flow. And I'll show you, just see there. I mean, just no problems whatsoever. Really good. And so I like it for that reason. Just really, really nice. I have found this a pleasant pen to write with. The feel is great. It's not too light, but it's not heavy or bulky or anything like that. The section has a nice shape to it. So even though at the narrowest part, and I'll put those specifications up, or I may have already done that by the time I get this edited, even though it's not a really thick section, it's not overly narrow either, but the shape of it just feels really great in hand. And so I really, really like it. And it's got a good enough length that I can hold it if I want to hold it a little further back, like about there. I'm not already into the threads. Sometimes you hold some pens right there even, and you're already into the threads, and that's not the case with this one. Really nicely done. And I will tell you, I actually, when I first started looking at the resin, because the resin and the nib were the two main things I was going to get this, get a pen BBS with this resin for. I wanted the fine, and I wanted this resin. I actually wanted it in a different shape, but that shape kept selling out before I could make up my mind, and which sometimes happens to me. However, I decided when I saw this one come up, I made a real quick decision to go ahead and get it. I thought maybe I'll like this shape a little bit better in person than I do in pictures, because it's just a little bit overly pointy at the ends to me. However, it really has grown on me, especially because I find that it is a very great, it's well made and a very well balanced and good writing, comfortable pen. So that all kind of overrode how I felt about the shape. And actually, I think it suits the resin really nicely. You see that? I really do. I think it looks good with this resin. So overall, I really like it, and I think you will too. And of course, if you want the resin and not the shape, then, watch and just check with them every now and then, because those come out in batches, and maybe you'll find it in another PennBBS pen that you wanted more. Or if you want the shape and not this resin, well, they have those too. So, go check out what they've got. PennBBS, my experience so far is excellent. And I think for what you get, the prices are excellent. The craftsmanship, I think, is above the price. And I really, really enjoy their pens. So I hope that you have a great week, and God bless you. And hopefully I'll get onto this other pen you see over here in the side here pretty soon with another review. This one is an American pen that I was really excited to get, saved up for a while to get, and I think you're going to like that one too. God bless you, and have a great week.